Hello, callers. Welcome back to Viva Barca, and welcome to another interesting episode where we are going to be discussing on the latest developing stories. We start with Ferran Torres, as it has been reported that Newcastle United are prepared to offer 40 million euros for the transfer listed Barca attacker. We are going to be discussing on that as we progress. Then, secondly, talking about Andreas Christensen, with his latest report claiming that Barcelona key defender Christensen could be a wild card option for the pivot position. We are also going to be discussing on that. So guys, as we get right into the full stories, please do ensure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Turn on the post bell notification to always stay notified whenever I post a new video. Consider liking the video and please watch it right up to the very end. Barcelona forward Ferran Torres has an opportunity to move back to the Premier League, with Newcastle United keen, and Barcelona are more than willing to make it happen as long as the money is fine. Torres' Barcelona tenure has not really gone as he would have hoped, ever since arriving from Manchester City for a fee reported to be around 55 million euros. The former Valencia man has struggled to assert his authority, and now, after just 1.5 years with Barcelona, the young Spaniard is on the verge of exit. Now, Barcelona are not expected to make any profit out of his sale. In fact, FeatureJet claims that any amount close to 40 million euros is deemed acceptable by Barca. This is mostly because the team is in no state of demand more money, as their aim is to maximize the player exit this summer. Ferran Torres' departure will not be a blow for Barcelona, and the aforementioned 40 million is anyway thought to be a coup. There is a feeling within the team that the 23-year-old never really fulfilled his potential at Camp Nou. It is one thing that he has only been here for 1.5 years, but the former Valencia and Man City forward has never established himself as a regular in the side. In his brief stint with Barcelona, Torres has played 71 games while scoring 14 goals across all competitions. For what it is worth, it is believed that the player is not willing to give up yet. In fact, he wants to prove his worth to Xavi, but in the wake of the financial troubles, the Blaugrana will have to make a concrete decision. And Newcastle's potential offer of 40 million euros would seem like the best they can get in the market this summer. Guys, I think this is a huge opportunity for Barca to just go on with this deal. If actually this report is to be believed, I think if Newcastle is offering 40 million euros for Ferran, Barca should just not even think twice. They should go for it, because we haven't sold anybody yet. We haven't sold, and we know selling players, would be one of the key things for us to have a good transfer window. We can't buy all the players that we want to strengthen the team if we don't sell players. All this because of the financial issues that we are going through, and the inability to comply with the fair play. And so far, Barca have been showing interest in many players, but they can't get to those players, especially as they haven't sold any. Ferran Torres has been one of those players that have been earmarked for a possible exit, but there have been a lot of rumors about his exit, but nothing have been said further until now that we are talking about Newcastle making another approach. This is not the first time that Newcastle have been approaching Barca for Ferran. In the January transfer window, Newcastle did approach, but Ferran refused that he won't leave. But I think now that Barca are considering to sell the player even more strongly than before, all because of the issues that Barca are currently going through, I think Barca would surely push for that deal to go through, whether the player likes it or not. Because if you ask all of these players that have been linked with an exit, they'll always say, "I don't want to leave. I still want to prove myself." Nobody wants to leave, but the club's hands are tied. I think the club's hands are tied, and they have no choice but to force a move. Ferran Torres have been subpar this past season and have been a great disappointment to many Barca fans. I think Ferran Torres' performances have been so poor, and honestly, I think cashing in on him even for 40 million euros, I think is something that Barca should not miss. That's a great opportunity. Even though we bought him for 55 million euros, But looking at his performances, his value can't even go more than that 55 anymore. So there's no way we can make any profit with Ferran. We just accept that yes, we have made a loss on Ferran Torres, and that's it. The transfer did not work out as many could have hoped. So 40 million euros is a price that Newcastle are currently offering for the player, but Barca have not yet made a move on that. But I think Barca would consider it strongly, knowing fully well that Ferran Torres is right on top of the list when it comes to players who are linked with possible exits. They have players such as Ansu Fati that have been mentioned as well, players like Eric Garcia, players like Frankie Sier, all of those players have been transfer listed. Also players who are on loan like Umtiti, Clement Lenglet, Ferrer. In fact, many of them have been transfer listed who went out on loan except from Ace Abday. So as it stands right now, it depends to be seen if Barcelona will seriously consider the offer that Newcastle are making for the out of form Ferran Torres, because I think selling him will make sense as the club needs sales as possible. Then moving on to the final story of discussion. Even as Barcelona search for a top quality replacement for Sergio Busquets to occupy the pivot midfield position next season, they also need to find reliable backup options for that role. Busquets had been an ever-present figure in the team when fit and available, and his departure is bound to have a huge impact, and whoever is brought in to replace him would need time to adapt, and as such, having alternatives in the positions becomes key. Last season, Xavi tried Frankie de Jong, Frankie Sier, Eric Garcia, and Sergio Roberto in the defensive midfield position to varying degrees of success. However, TC and Garcia are staring at uncertain future at the club, while the manager has made it clear that Frankie de Jong is best suited in playing an advanced role. Given the scarcity of options at right back, Roberto's services would be needed there. Signing Ilkay Gundogan would also be an option for the pivot position, but according to Sports Jody Khan, Barcelona could look at defensive mainstay Andreas Christensen as a wildcard option for the defensive midfield role next campaign. The Danish international joined Barca as a free agent last summer and emerged as one of the team's best performers, forming a key part of the tight-knit defensive unit. However, Xavi has previously hinted that he believes Christensen would be a good fit for the pivot role. He said, "He's one of the best signings this season, and in recent years, he's an extraordinary defender. And the way we play, the way he filters ball, distributes, and understands the free man, he could be a midfielder playing deep," he said. So, guys, with that, we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, bye bye.